guys,
I'm Hallee,
and I'm Jamie.
and this is Literal Nonsense.
Hiya.
Hello!
What's
Ahoy,
up?
mateys!
Right. Hallie's getting in the spirit.
Trying.
I'm sad I'm not with you right now. It's making me sad. So, update. I think we're going to start recording together. The one microphone, like coffee chat vibe, worked well for us. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you guys like it? I don't know. Yeah, I hope it worked well. But we liked it a lot as far as like the vibe. And so we're going to play around with like making a little like intro, I don't know how to word it, like animation, I guess.
Yeah.
And this way then we can just post the entire video with audio, etc. So that'll be nice. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure we'll run into fucking technological? Yeah. Difficulties at some point doing that because that's just our luck, but we're going to be optimistic.
Crossing the fingers.
Yeah, so we're not doing that yet because we have like some things cooking up between the new animation we want to make. We also are going to do like a little new feature on our Instagram about our ratings of books, just so, more interaction with you guys and kind of like our Goodreads ratings and all that stuff. So we have little ideas and plans.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, that's in the future. And so before today, we decided, since we were in Maine last week, this book does not take place in Maine, much to my dismay. But I thought it did.
Yeah, Jamie's like, oh my god, we're going to Maine. This book takes place in Maine. Like, it's going to be great. And I was like, ugh, fine. Okay.
So it doesn't. It takes port. Oh my god, am I okay? I think I'm dying.
Yeah.
It takes place in Westport, which I don't know if that's real or if that's made up, but it's in Washington, so opposite coast. Still very nautical fisher port vibes.
Yeah.
So it was fine. And so, if you haven't guessed already, if you're not an avid romance reader, we are reading It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey.
Yep, that's what we read.
Yeah, I keep making Hallee read romances, but honestly, they're just like very low commitment and like light and fluffy for summer.
I mean,
which
like,
I think is
yeah.
nice.
But like also like I want to read something with a little bit more punch to the gut. I want to cry when I read, Like I want to feel the angst and the pain and the longing.
I just feel
and
like
the
we
secretive
have to
glimpses behind parlor doors, and that's very specific, but
that is very specific. I feel like we need almost like something between romance and SJM. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to analyze and like theorize necessarily right this very second, but I would like more depth in a romance. So, like, what is in between?
the only thing I can really think of is like contemporary, but like because you kind of have like aspects of both, like Sally Rooney, for example. She's a contemporary author. It's fiction, obviously. And like her books have romance in them, but it's not like this book. You know what I mean? Like it's not centered around the romance.
Okay.
But it is a big impact. Yeah, I'd be down.
Okay. I like how we're brainstorming live. Nice. Okay.
Reporting live.
And so this book, basically, just to give you a synopsis before we really get going on it, it's about this girl, Piper, and she's rich, very like snooty, airheady. Her, family, her mom and her stepfather, they bankroll her. She doesn't really have anything going for her besides for like her social media presence. And so she like gets broken up with after 3 weeks, God forbid. And he's basically like, you're a fucking airhead. Like, I can't. And she decides to prove this man wrong / revenge, decides to break into a pool and throw a giant party on like a rooftop pool and
Mm-hmm.
take like topless photos because yes, you're proving his point, but that's okay. And she gets thrown in jail, and finally her dad or her stepfather is like, I'm fucking sick of you. I'm shipping you off to the town your mother used to live in, where your father's from. It's like a small fishing village. You need to go make like a living for yourself, go get like a summer job. You're going for 3 months, you're
Mm-hmm.
banished. He like exiled her.
Yeah, and he puts her on like a budget and he's like, you need to learn the value of money. Like, I was self made and you get everything you want. You have no responsibilities. You sleep until 3 p.m. and then party all night. Like, you're 28, get it together.
Right. And so she ends up being shipped off there, and her sister Hannah comes with her because she's like, you are gonna die alone. Like,
Yeah.
you won't even be able to feed yourself. Like, I need to help you.
Sister of the Year
Hannah's,
award.
yeah, Hannah's younger, but she's like definitely the one who has her shit together. Like, she just doesn't take part in the LA like social media.
Mm-hmm.
She's into like the music scene. She's
She's more of
hanging.
like, yeah, she's more of like the broody art type.
Yeah, like she's like wants to pick like movie soundtracks, like pick the play like the movie, the music behind like the scenes and stuff. And
Yeah.
she works for like this director she's like a little crush on. Like, yeah, she's definitely like that LA vibe, whereas Piper is like,
The glitz and glam and.
well, and something actually important to mention, which will I feel like make this very clear, is the author wrote about how she
Mm.
based this character off Alexis from Schitt's Creek. So that's all
Mm-hmm.
you have to know. Like that's
David.
exact right.
David.
And that is Piper. Like
Yeah, she did a
to a
pretty good
T.
job, I would say.
Yes,
I
yes.
could totally imagine. Like, it was good.
It was good. So they go to this town, and that's where their father's from. Now he was a fisherman and he died on the job, like deep sea fishing, like crabbing, like these really dangerous. Like my dad used to watch Deadliest Catch, and that shit looked fucking crazy, and that's all I could think about when I read this book.
Mm.
Like that's a fucking crazy job.
Yeah, because they're going up to like the Bering Strait, which like you never know if you're coming out alive.
I just could never. I could never date someone like that. I could never do that for sure.
Yeah.
Like I get like a little like, ooh, if I'm on like a catamaran and we hit a weird wave, I'm like, oh god, like
Mm.
I don't want to do that.
Mm. I think I would like to do that.
I would be
Isolation,
screaming.
one with the water. I don't know.
Recently, I feel like boats skeeve me out a little bit. Not skeeve, like they make me like antsy. They're
Hmm.
unsettling. The ocean's
Interesting.
unpredictable, I'm like, I'm good being off of you for a while. Maybe it's just like a weird premonition I'm having, and I should really listen to that. I don't
Or
know.
you're paranoid.
Also that. So probably more so that. And so yeah, so our two girls get shipped off to Westport. Now, of course, right off the get, juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Juicy, juicy. And this is my book boyfriend.
Yeah. So, okay, so Piper and Hannah, they end up in Westport. And like Jamie mentioned before this, like we get some background information like on Piper, and she like goes into detail about like, she loves the shopping, she loves, taking 30 hours to get ready for parties, and she talks about like her Louboutins and, her Mugler dress and like all this stuff, right?
Look at you saying the words properly.
Yeah, what can I say? No, I'm kidding. um and then she goes on to talk about how, I think like one of the first things that the book says was like, oh, I just broke up with my boyfriend of like my longest relationship ever. And then it's like
Yeah.
dot, and then it's like 3 weeks. And you're like, what the fuck? This bitch is 28 and her longest relationship was 3 weeks.
It's just she lacks substance.
For sure. I mean, I thought though it was really funny because like when he was breaking up with her, his name is Adrian. I thought that was crazy. He was like, you're just a way to pass the time and your time has passed. I was like, yeah, that's crazy.
Adrian crushed it low
The
key.
audacity, insane. Anyways, what?
Now, what I was thinking, like what I think is interesting, and I want to bring it up now because I think we're going to keep bringing it up as the book goes on,
Mm-hmm.
is she is an airhead, right? And we talked about this when we first started the book. She genuinely feeds into it. She is an airhead, whatever. But I think it's almost because of her environment. because
Mm-hmm.
as she goes to Westport, we're gonna see her character arc develop, and like she isn't like the super shallow bimbo.
Mm-hmm.
She's not acting like it in LA. She really only cares about those things. But like when push comes to shove, she like begins to realize like, huh, this is a very shallow, baseless existence. Like there's no depth to my life.
Yeah.
Like again, she's not acting like she likes it. She really does like it and she's completely happy with it. But when put in another environment, she's like, "Whoa, like this is crazy. Like I really like have so much more like satisfaction doing XYZ than I did in LA like posting these pictures."
Yeah, I feel like we don't really get to see like her actual personality until like you're halfway through the book.
Yeah, so I want to bring that up now just cuz like we're going to start obviously talking
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Yeah. Okay, so how about you go off about your book boyfriend? His name is Brendan.
Whoo, I could go off. I could just sit here and monologue and just talk about how sexy he is. I won't, but I could. um, okay. She walks into this bar. Oh, so their father owned a bar, so they're like, go. It's technically yours. It was in the will. You two go stay there. There's an apartment above the bar. Whatever. So they walk in their fucking. She has a lipstick purse. Whatever.
Crazy.
They walk in and all the fishermen are there, and they call the bar No Name because it's like abandoned, and they just like
Mm-hmm.
buy like 6 packs and like go hang out there, and like no tourists go there because obviously it's like an abandoned bar. So they walk in and there's all these fishermen around, and we meet our main character Brendan. It is a very classic grumpy sunshine trope slash like I feel like they really emphasize like masculinity and femininity like
Mm-hmm.
which I enjoy sometimes, like really classic gender roles in like romance books.
Mm-hmm.
And so she walks in and he hates her, hates her. He's like, who the fuck is this? And he like brings her upstairs and there's like fucking spiders and shit. He's like, here you go, this is where you're living. And like she could tell he's being a dick, so she's like, fine, I will live here. Which you're starting to be like, okay, you're a little spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan must be at least 6'4". Like he just has to be. He's just this big tall, super muscular from like being a fucking boat captain, bearded, beanie wearing, for sure has tons of chest hair kind of man. So I'm already like, wow. Like, and like, I imagined his beard not like a Stevie, like fisherman beard, like those pictures of like the guy, like the lighthouse keeper.
Mm-hmm.
His beard is for sure just like full, but like nicely, like he like manscapes his beard,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not long and scraggly. It's like super close to the face, but like thick.
Yeah. I mean, my first impression of Brendan, I was like, yo, his self-importance is like way too much because he's like going on like in his dialogue, like like when because it switches like POVs, but then it's also like third person. But
Mm-hmm.
like from like his POV, when he's talking. He's like talking about how, how much he has given to this town, how the town sticks together, how they're a family, how they all put each other first and like all this, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, bro, give it up. Like, okay, we get it. Like, you're the captain of the fucking Delaware. Congratulations. Do you want a cookie? Like, tell me more about how great you are in at fucking catching crabs in the Bering Strait. Like,
Yeah, no, I do see what you're
I
saying.
was like, you're annoying.
When you point it out like that and saying it, like I can definitely see that vibe. I think I was honestly so blinded by just this vision and fantasy that I had of this man. I didn't even care what he was saying. Like I just got a very distinct image in my head, and I was like, I don't care. You can say whatever you want.
So like my thing is like, so Brendan like immediately hates her, and
Hates
Piper's
her.
like, you know what, whatever, fuck you. And they had like the next day they had an interaction at the supermarket,
Aw.
and like she was like trying to buy groceries, and obviously she looked like she was struggling, and like he goes
What does she have in her cart? Like lima beans and like vinegar?
yeah, some random shit, and he's like, what the fuck are you gonna make with that? And he was like gonna walk away, but then like he's like they like made eye contact or whatever, and then like
Well,
he
and she
was
points out to him, like, you are being so self important, basically. Is this really how you want to represent the town you love so much, or being so fucking neighborly? And he was like, right, you
Yeah.
right.
Okay, but then like after that, he's like in love. It's like 2 chapters later, and he's like, "She's the one for me," and I was like thrown off guard. I was like,
Oh,
"Wow."
she also tries her flirty thing, but kind of stops herself because he's wearing a wedding ring.
Yeah. So we
So
don't know what the deal is with that in the
does that
beginning. I think.
interaction happen at the supermarket? I think yes, because he's being a dick to her, and she's like, "I feel bad for your wife," and then
Well,
he's
she
like, "Oh,
notices it the first night when they get
yeah," in the
there.
bar, and then in the I think it is in the supermarket. So it's early on in the book, and they're arguing because he's being an asshole to her, and she basically is like, "You represent your town like shit," and then second of all, he's still being a dick, and she's like, "I feel bad for your wife," and he's like, "My wife is dead."
Yeah.
We're like, "Ah, okay,
Yeah.
fuck, that sucks." Like, I don't, okay.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's not like we're not doing affairs up in here,
I just
but
feel like their like story just started so quickly. Like you didn't
mm-hmm.
really get to draw out the enemies to lovers thing, which kind of
Yes,
annoyed me. Um
I agree
and
because
we
they
could
could
talk
have.
more about that at the end, but
Yeah, no, but I actually, yes, I agree.
like it would
Am
have been better even too if like okay, even if he did like fall for her or whatever like as quickly as he did, but like if she was like more hesitant, you know what I mean? Or like vice versa. Like
I
someone had to
almost,
like stick it to them like a little bit longer. Like
yeah,
make us yearn for this, you know?
I almost wish, like you said, like it was more enemies to lovers. Like I wish he hated her longer.
Yeah.
Because that would have been realistic. Like realistically, right? Like her being hesitant, like if you're spinning her as this kind of airhead, bimbo-y, whatever kind of girl, she wouldn't be hesitant. Like she'd be like all about it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so I wish that he hated her more for longer. Now, am I super remiss about this? No, because I get so many more sex scenes by the fact that it hurries up. So I appreciate it. Um, but I do think there could have been a bit more of like the tug because you do as it goes on, right? You get a little bit of him being like, I don't want to like her, like, but I do. But I wish I got more of that.
Yeah, like it wasn't enough. It was mentioned like 3 times. Like just like super quick, like no like I just felt like it could have been executed better.
Because pretty quickly, the really turning point for them is when she tries to cook dinner for her and her sister, and she manages to like light the fucking whole frying pan on fire, which
Mm-hmm.
admittedly is not her fault. Hannah, the sister, left like a cleaning rag near it, and like it had like pine sol or whatever, like I don't know, flammable material on it, and it caught fire. And basically, he sees this happening from across the street at a restaurant and like runs over, saves her, like gets dinner with her. And that happens quickly. Like obviously we're just in the supermarket buying food for that dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like
Yeah.
from then on he's like all about it.
Well, yeah, so then that happens and then right after that, um the one guy is like, "Oh, like we're having a party at Blow the Man Down." And he was
Ooh.
like, "Oh, I'd love for you to come." Come to find out the party is a memorial for Brendan's fucking deceased wife.
And the guy who invited her was the woman's father. So like
Yeah,
you
like
wouldn't
his
mention that?
father-in-law. Yeah, so random. And like, Piper's like, "Oh, it's a party?" So she's going to show him how she parties and she walks in, she's like screaming, she's wearing this fucking crazy dress. It's like, "Who wants shots?" Like, and all these people are standing around like
A
there's like a
picture of her.
shrine of her at the table next to the potato salad. Like, what is going on? But then
That's
after,
crazy.
yes, but then after that, he goes home and he's like, I have feelings for Piper and takes off his wedding ring. And it's like, what the fuck? This is like within a
Yeah.
week.
Right. Well, and also, yeah, I just feel like agreeing with you completely now that you're pointing it out. I don't think I had this thought on my own, but now that you're saying it, I'm like completely in agreement. Number one, after that whole incident with the shop, she's mortified, obviously, because she really isn't a bimbo. Like, she doesn't try to be.
Yeah, like she feels bad.
And he goes and comforts her, and he's like, oh my God, I'm missing my wife's memorial to comfort her. Like, I clearly like her, whatever. Takes off the ring, and it's like a whole thing, and you're like, wow, that
Hmm.
was quick. But here's the thing I think the whole book takes place over the span of a month, right? I think.
Yeah.
Now, we know that
No, it's like
she,
it's three
well, it
months.
is, but remember she calls him for Labor Day because she's supposed to be there till end of October.
Oh,
She
yeah.
calls him for the Labor Day party, which we'll get to in a second. But my point is you set this up that she was supposed to be gone for 3 months, right? And then she's calling her stepfather to come early, trying to hatch a plan. Basically, her and Hannah decided, let's renovate the bar in honor of our father. But you know what? Maybe it'll get us a ticket back to LA quicker. And so the book itself is only a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you already had it set up for 3 months, why not do a month of enemies to lovers and have them stay the whole duration of their stay? Like, I feel
Yeah.
like the fact that like she tried to get out of there early and like call the stepfather and all of that, I understand the point as far as like her character, that makes sense and checks out for her. But like you literally wrote in the 3 month plot point, so why not utilize that to your advantage?
Mm-hmm. I mean, like she, and then that's like the thing, like later on, right? And Brendan's like, oh, like you had these safety nets to catch you, and like you renovated the bar with the hopes that you would get sent home early. And like they have like a big blow up fight about that. And like, what do I mean to you? Like, you know, like you're my world, like
Right, but it's like a
whatever.
month.
And so, like, I guess, like, the point I'm trying to make is like, at like I think she used the whole month thing as a ploy to trigger their like big fight where she like is late to
Mm-hmm.
see him at the docks, and he goes away on the boat, and then she's like, oh, we have the party and no one shows up, so then she fucking
Right.
goes back to like I think it was like that.
Right. But like I feel like you could have still used that plot point in the 3 month thing and been like, oh, our durations ended. I'm supposed to go home.
Yeah,
Am I going home or am I staying here with you? Like I feel like it still could have worked, you
that would
know?
have been more impactful for sure.
I agree. And so, okay, like before we get to all this bullshit and us disagreeing, as per usual with authors writing,
Mm,
um, so now, yeah, they're kind of like a thing. So again, they have this idea to rebuild the father's bar. Um, and you know, Piper's starting to make herself at home. She's not even like realizing she's doing it, but she starts walking that old man Abe to the museum to go sit because he can't get up the stairs himself. Um, she finds out, her and Hannah, that their grandmother lives in this town. Like their father's name is Henry, so Henry's mom. So they start hanging out with her and like going to visit her.
yeah, they like
Um,
reconnect.
but now Brendan and Piper, like they're friends, I guess, quote unquote. But like they tell him the idea to renovate the bar, and he just starts getting to work. He's bringing her coffee. He's doing super sweet gestures. Jesus,
Yeah, he's like
where
building shit.
yeah, and like the she's
Pergola.
hitting her head on the thing,
Oh, yeah, that too. The
and
bunk
like
bed.
he's yeah, and he sends someone to like put like padding so she stops hitting her head. So like pretty much again, like Hallie said, after the memorial, Brendan's all about Piper.
Yeah, and then like he invites her over for dinner, and Piper's like, "This is getting way too serious. Like, let's just have fun." And so she's like trying to just be like flirty and fun and just keep it sexual. And he's like seeing through her bullshit, and he's like, "That's not gonna happen."
Which I feel like you've ruined this for me. I agree. So
Wait till I have more to say. Don't worry.
I agree. Like I don't mind his actions, right? Like because he's right. He is seeing through her. She doesn't want just simple with him, and they could be more. And so he's not wrong. And I like him like calling her out on her bullshit. Like she's trying to be that like airhead, slutty, let's just have sex kind of girl. And he's like, no, I'm not letting you do that. Like I see how much you have to offer, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't. I like that, but I don't think it makes as much sense being in like 2 weeks. Again, if you were enemies to
Mm-hmm.
lovers, watching her from afar and seeing her like renovate the bar XYZ, and you were like, oh, like she really isn't like an airhead, and like he slowly learned that, it would make sense. But realistically, she's making it out like he learned that in 2 weeks, and that's just not a thing.
Yep. I guess that's why it's fiction, right?
This is where I struggle though, because it's like it can be fiction, but like you can do it well.
I mean,
I think
yeah.
I'm more so mad because it's just like you had the 3 month plot point in there, so it's like
You're
he
just
just
hung
could have
up on the
used
three
it.
months.
But like that would have made more sense.
Yeah. Well, I
Like
mean, like, I don't know. There's like a few things that also just kind of like throw me for a loop. Truly, is like,
well, keep ruining it for me. Keep going. Tell me what else.
okay, okay. What I thought was crazy was, he goes away on this fishing trip, and this is
Mm.
like your first almost like like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen? So he goes away on a fishing trip, and then like they find out there was an accident. So like Piper freaks out and she like rushes to the hospital, and like he's there, he's fine. It was like one like the other guy on the boat who had a fucking concussion.
Yeah,
Of
he
all
like
things,
fell.
he had a concussion, but he was in the ICU. Does that happen? I don't know.
I think if you have a fall, speaking
I
from
mean, like she could
experience.
have said he was just like in a coma. Like,
Oh God. Well, I
make
don't
it
know if she.
easier.
I mean, I guess.
I feel like
I'm
concussion's a
just.
stretch.
I'm just speaking. Speaking. I'm speaking from my fall experience. I did go to the ICU, so I think they also like the fact that it ended up being concussion. Okay, fine, it was minor, but I think if you have a fall in any sense, they like
Mm.
X-ray, like they do make sure it's like there's no brain trauma, like. So I feel as though that may be fine.
Okay, whatever. But the big thing that I want to get to here is
Yeah,
that
that
like
was not.
okay, so she like runs into his arms, and then first of all, she calls like his like body her like recharging station, which
Oh
I
yes.
just can't. I really that just really just freaks me out. I just don't like that. That's it's so gross and corny. Like literally throughout the whole book, she probably says it like 20 times. She's like, oh, I just wish I was at my recharging station. I just want to be home at my recharging station. I'm like, shut the fuck. I'm like, come on.
Okay, so I will say
This is
this
so
about that.
cringe.
No, I agree. I don't disagree with that at all. I okay, so she first mentions the recharging station in the hospital. She mentions it as if it's like a known thing. Like what struck me because I literally was like, did I miss something? Like I was like, did she what? And like I've read this book before, as I mentioned last episode, Hallee hasn't. And so like I knew that was like a thing and I was like, oh, did I miss the point in which she introduced this? No, she just says it to him like it's fucking common knowledge. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow. So we should also reference the hospital as you keep going on your points on your tangent. At the dinner before he left, they do have like they hook up like they I don't know, just
They
have like
do
a little
everything but sex,
yeah, they have
basically.
like a little oral sex fest. Okay, great. Um so just to mention that like they are like romantically
Wait, but
involved at this
she's
point.
so cringe though, like in the sex scenes.
Why?
Honestly, she's so cringe. I can't remember which one it is, but I think it was
Mhm.
no, it had to be like the first time they hook up. So like at that dinner, and like obviously like he has a boner, and he was like trying to like swat her hand away, like, oh, like you first or something like that, and it comes out that like he hasn't had sex or whatever since his
His
wife
wife
died
died.
7 years ago, and she's like,
Whoa.
ugh. I just want to throw up just even saying it.
Ew,
She's
Hallie.
like she said something along the lines of like, oh, like Brendan, like I have to take care of that for you, and I'm like, ugh. Like this is so like because I could just imagine it in like her fucking squeaky, whiny LA Valley girl voice.
Yeah, I mean hot
And it was just
take.
like so, I don't know. I thought that was cringe.
Yeah, I will say in general, romance books, right? I think you need to be extra descriptive because, like, obviously you're reading a sex scene, right? Like, so you have to, you can't rely on like visuals, right? So you have to like explain everything or have like a lot of like these sex books have immense amounts of like sex dirty talk because like, you know, it has to like
Yeah,
paint the
but
picture.
hers wasn't good.
No, no, I agree. I'm just saying most of these books, not just this one in particular, if I imagine saying any of those things to my husband, I actually want to poke myself in the eyes and like
Why the
skewer them
eyes?
out.
No, cut your tongue out, bro.
Yeah.
So
And
you
I'm a
can speak.
talkative gal
Yeah.
and no. So I completely agree with that. Yeah, I mean even he
Yeah.
again,
Ugh.
they lean heavy into like the masculine feminine like
Huzzah, give me
dom and
your
sub like just and their sex
come
talk
out,
is a
finish
bit
that. It's just I don't know, not for me.
which is fine. Yeah.
Which is fine, yes. You know, it's just not my cup of tea. But also, so the point where I was going with this all is that the first time they have sex is in the hospital.
Oh, yes, it is.
Like we are in a sterile situation and you're not making you're making it unsterile. And you know,
But
my concern as a health professional is
oh,
like
fucking hell.
if someone gets admitted to that room, is housekeeping going to go in and clean the room? Like that's
I'm
so
sure
dirty.
they are. And second of
How
all,
did they
okay,
know?
so
No one knew they were in there.
did you not
That just
feel
makes me
like
paranoid.
did you not feel like the desperation though of like she finds out that he's safe and she can't resist her feelings anymore.
Then go to
That's
the
where I more so
then
went
go
with
to the
that.
hospital bathroom, bro. Like, why are you? I don't know.
I mean, I'm sorry, if I'm going to have sex in a hospital, I prefer a room than a
I
bathroom.
mean, yeah, but then like I don't know. I guess just like my ethical medical compass is like,
Medical
nah,
ethics.
literally. I'm like, I can't do this. Sorry, this is wrong.
Yeah, but like they're not like if she okay, so here's
Like,
my
go to
hot
the
take on
car.
that.
Like, I don't know.
Okay,
Hospital?
no, you're making it worse.
I
Every
don't
time
think.
you add an option, it's worse than the last one.
Okay, but I don't think having sex in a hospital is very intriguing either.
Okay, here's my take on it. Do I think that it was fucking sanitary? No. But like I would be more upset, which now that I'm gonna say I'm upset about it, I'm kind of thinking it's a little sexy. But if it was like a nurse and a doctor, you should know better. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Now,
what the break rooms are for.
now and again, I'm thinking about a nurse and a doctor and sex, and I'm like, that's kind of a nice image. Little
Oh my
hospital
god.
quickie. Also, you people don't have sex in hospitals. People have sex everywhere, like everywhere.
Great.
Could be anywhere. Could be any. It could be in the supermarket. You have no
Carry
idea.
the hand sanitizer, everybody. You don't know what's been touched before you.
And with what?
Yeah, or by who.
Oh, it gets worse. Uh,
Anyways, yeah, so anyways, I mean I did write that it was hot and desperate. LOL.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, like Jesus,
But like
show some humanity.
I don't know. It wasn't I just didn't like it. I don't know. But anyways, okay, so this is also what I want to talk about Brendan, your boy.
Uh oh.
Okay, so like obviously, he has a lot of self-assurance and he's written in a way that you're like, wow, what a man, like
Yes.
big brawly man, and he's in touch with his feelings and he's willing to break his routines to, be with this woman and yada yada yada, and like he's sacrificing and okay.
That's where I'm at.
So I read that, like I was reading it, and then I was like, bro, this is just another glorification of awarding men for doing the bare minimum.
Okay, that's fair.
Like if you're in a relationship, it shouldn't be glorified that like, wow, he's willing to put aside his routine to be with me. Like, if you want to be with someone, you will do that. Like, it
Correct.
doesn't need to be like this whole big thing. And like when he's like talking through his emotions and his thoughts with Piper about his ex-wife and like da da da, like this should be normal conversation for
Now,
them.
I agree with you
You know what I mean?
completely. But now
Like,
I
so is he really
offer
that special?
correct. But now I offer you something else, another food for thought on this conversation. That is correct. A man in touch with his feelings, who can talk to his significant other, who takes care of her, and like who will fight for her, etc., etc., etc. Yes, this should be what you do. Because as women, right? Like I'm like I would fight for my partner, whatever. Agreed. Now that being said, is this so appealing to readers and women in general because
It's
men
so
don't do
unheard of.
this?
Yeah, it's so unheard of.
Which is that a dig at the book for being Brendan is just the bare minimum and everyone should be like that? Or is that a dig at men, the fact that this seems mind blowing to us?
Maybe it's a little bit of both. Because that's a thing, right? And it's like, when this is a thing that always gets me. Like when you have like a decent guy, he's like, God's fucking chosen one. Because not to be that person, but a lot of times men aren't like that, especially when they're, younger in their 20s. I feel like, you know, a emotionally intelligent, stable fucking go-getter guy, like just a nice guy,
Mm-hmm.
isn't unheard of, but it's just not
The norm.
the norm. But people would argue that women are the real problem.
Right.
And, they create these things in their heads to make it seem
Right.
like, so it's like a ping pong match, essentially. But
Yeah.
I don't
I
know. I
mean,
just kind of felt like I was like, okay, like let's just fucking, tone it down a little bit. Brendan, you're great, you're hot, you're nice, you're
right.
emotionally intelligent, but like are you the fucking best lobster roll that we had in Maine?
So I also was laughing as well because, first of all, I just obviously like I'm a sappy bitch, as we've gathered from many episodes now together.
Oh god, yes.
So I need to do a little brag because I'm laughing as I'm sitting here shitting on men, being like, "He's the bare minimum," but we love it so much because men suck. I was like having a moment to myself of being like, "Wow, you're a total bitch," because today Ryan woke up and was like, "Oh, like I'm gonna work from home today. Like just change your appointments till tomorrow. Like, I want to spend the day with you. And I was like, wow, that was so nice. And now as I'm recording my like passion project podcast with you, he's like out there like slaving over the girl making us dinner. And I'm like sitting here like, men are fucking trash. So I'm like, wow, what a bitch I am.
That's so funny.
So I'm like, wow, fuck me, right? But no, but like, yeah, I just think, again, we shouldn't be so much concerned that Brendan's like nothing quote unquote special. We should be concerned the fact that we all are like, wow,
yeah,
no way.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it like that was like a make or break thing for me. I just
yeah, it's a valid point. 100%. Yes, I like this food.
Especially because you're like, you're texting me and you're like, Brendan is the man. He's my book boyfriend for life and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, like he was good. Right. But not like I'm like, oh my God, you know?
I think I really got stuck on the image and the idea of Brendan and ran with it, you know? Like this macho fisherman who has like a soft side and like I could like visually see him. I'm like, oh, yep. But again, like Brendan walked so Cassian could run. You know what I'm saying? Like they're very much one and the same.
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I go for the 6'4", big muscles, give me a beard and a man bun, give me some fucking chest hair, and I'm like,
yeah, he's your type. Yeah.
Like, so I just feel like that it's probably not so much Brendan as much as like the picture she painted for me of Brendan.
I get that.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and so now after they have sex in the hospital, I think it's pretty much done deal.
It's all unicorns and rainbows from here on out. Well, not really, but I don't know. They're having sex. They're having like sex like crazy. She puts her finger in his ass. I mean, like it's. Wait. It all escalates very quickly.
That was, but I appreciate them in the sense of, like afterwards, like, you know, they joke about it and they're like, so we're not going to talk about that, you know, like I think that's like a very real, like that banter after the fact makes it like funny. And this book, quite honestly, is funny. Like Hannah's hysterical.
No, yeah, I love her. She's really funny.
She'll just say like,
she adds like good comedic relief, even though like comedic relief isn't really needed because like Piper in herself is like comedic relief because she's just an airhead. But like she's like getting depth, you know, like her brawny fisherman is, you know, speaking life into her.
But at the same time, she's realizing, right, as she's renovating the bar, she's like, ooh, I like get like such satisfaction. Like I feel accomplished. Like I like this more. Yeah, so I think she's doing great. Like she's growing in herself. Now I'm going to go circle back to the point you made about like, you know, you wish the enemies to lovers thing was longer, yada, yada. Because now basically the fact that they're dating, they somehow reluctantly like, he's like, I know you like me, like we're gonna be like boyfriend girlfriend, and she like finally is like, you're right, I agree with this. Now basically the new drama going on as they date is, well, are you gonna stay here and be with me? And I'm like, well, how realistic really is that after 3 weeks?
And and you also forgot to say that she moves in with him and Hannah too,
which is nice.
They just move on in. I don't know. That I was also like, well, what? Okay. They live down the street from each other, but I guess that's not close enough after 3 weeks.
Well, and even realistically, right? Like, okay, even after say 2 months would have been quick, but like I would have been like, oh, okay, you know, like
I mean, like
fought this for so long and yada yada, you know.
Okay, but like, okay, so I feel like the author kind of covers her tracks with this, so we can't be too mad because like,
ooh, look at you being generous.
I know, because I just thought of this. So like, there's a scene where after Piper fucking sets her pasta on fire and Brendan saves her and he's like, oh, like, come eat like my friend's dinner instead and whatever. So they're sitting there eating and she makes him order a pot pie. And he's like, I never eat pot pie. I only order fish and chips. And she was like, oh, try something different. He's like, I'm going to hate it. And she was like, well, just try it. So like, he orders it. He hates it, but he continues to eat the whole thing. And she's like, why are you still eating it if you don't like it? He's like, that's just the kind of man I am. Like, I'm all in. So part of me kind of thinks that the reason why things just escalate so quickly and like he's so intense for her is because like she says from the get that his personality trait is like it's all or nothing.
Right. And Piper even mentions that because she's like, what if you're just all in, you realize you don't like me, but you just like, I'm like pot pie, like you just like continue to date me because like you're all in. And he's like, that's not the case, whatever.
But I think it is.
I think
not the whole thing, but like I think that's a contributing factor.
Oh, I agree that I think like that's like what starts it, but I agree that I think it was actually well done that she had Piper mention that again. Like, well, if you start dating me and you don't like me, like you're just gonna keep dating me.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that's probably why he goes all in. Now that being said, right? We could hate as much as we want on like, oh, they moved in so quick, yada yada. But at the same time, if they both kind of have like jobs or not jobs where they don't have any time restraints, yada yada. Also, they do mention like they want to spend
yada yada a lot. I'm just thinking of like from fucking Chowder, and he's like rah rah rah.
Oh, I hate
Remember that guy?
Yes, I do. I saw it so vividly in my head. But they also mention and do a good job of basically saying we want to spend every second together because he leaves for days at a time on fishing trips.
Okay.
And that being said too, right? We could hate on it, but if you like someone and they both again have jobs that aren't, super strict schedules, you may as well see if it's going to work or not work, especially if she's making a giant life choice like do I want to live here? I mean, yeah, why not? If you're fucking there for however long you're there for temporarily, yeah, why don't you move in with him and see if it works? Because if she decided to live there and hadn't moved in with him, I also have been like, you dumb bitch. Maybe you should have lived with him first.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, from what it sounds like, it's like while she's in Westport, she realizes that, like, her life in LA is just, like, it's not it.
Meaningless.
Yeah, and she's like, like, how can I leave Opal, which is her grandma, and who's gonna walk Abe to the museum, and like she's making like actual connections here, and back home, her best friend fucking rats her out to the police, and it's like, all these people care about is the look.
Her.
Yeah, no one's even reached out. Yep.
And so yeah, she's definitely having this little epiphany, and now they have like a little short trip to Seattle.
Oh yeah.
To go to like a record expo, and they want to get a chandelier for the bar that they're renovating. And Brendan he pulls all the stops out. He spoils her.
Okay, we also find out that he's a millionaire.
Which
just casually.
Okay, so maybe this is again because my dad was obsessed with Deadliest Catch, but like I knew that from what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that these people were millionaires.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I thought they were like, living well, but like I didn't expect them to be like her. I didn't expect Brennan to be her new sugar daddy.
I think like if they have like a family and like that, they're probably just doing fine. He probably realistically, if you think about his lifestyle, probably just saves all his money.
Yeah, true.
Like like his co-captain or his relief skipper Fox, his pretty much best friend. Like I don't think he's a millionaire because he goes and blows it like after their trips and they get home. He goes and like. So I'm saying like I think Brendan probably is a millionaire because of his lifestyle, but no, I think like
he blows it on strippers and coke. Yeah. That's the type of guy Fox is.
Okay, yes, but also like no, like he doesn't bang strippers or do coke.
That's the kind of vibe he gave me when they were talking about like I don't know, there was like one scene when they were talking about like what Fox does, and I was like I could totally imagine him like a fucking wears a gold pinky ring and like smokes a cigar in a stripper joint and like
Ryan wears a gold pinky ring.
Okay.
But he's going for more of the Tony Soprano vibe than like the
Tony Soprano's like grandson.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck I was saying because the coke and strippers really got me. So they go to this thing. Now you're also starting to see a little Fox and Hannah drama. Just like some sexual tension. Which is
what was that? Sexual
tension. Yeah, that's like with a little.
She got an accent there.
Yeah, because it's a little ooh,
Okay.
But yeah, they are at this hotel. They have like a nice little trip together. Now, same thing. It's kind of like, oh, like what's gonna happen? Like, is she gonna stay or not? And now all of a sudden, her phone starts blowing up. Like, everyone from LA is calling her.
Yeah, because she's on the magazine, and they're like, oh my god, where have you been? We're throwing you a party, and she's like. She has like that split second where she's like about to like leave, like she's about to jump into it, and then like she's like, wait a second, like fuck these people, and then
like,
Brendan,
I love this man.
Yeah, and then like Brendan's like, I just like imagine him like staring her down, like, who's that?
Now, in that scene, is he hot or icky for you? Just curious.
I would say more like funny. Like I almost imagine it more like cartoonish.
Okay.
With like a very like like expressive expression, you know, like,
Yeah, neither
you know what I
hot
mean?
nor icky. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't feel either in that moment. Just like I was like, oh well, at Brandon, whatever the fuck his name is.
Brandon. And so yeah, so I guess let's get to the end. Like the big I have many thoughts on the end of this
Okay,
book.
so do I. I'm so glad we have so many thoughts.
Okay, you go first then.
Okay.
Tell us the end, and then we'll go into our thoughts.
Okay, so
So
right off the
lay it
bat.
out.
Okay, so right off the bat. So they get back to Westport and they're at Brendan's slash Piper's house now. And they're like having an argument and he was like, this is what I was saying before, right? So he was saying like, oh, like you had all these safety nets, like you renovated the bar in hopes that you could leave early and you just forgot about the purpose of this party that you were having for your stepdad to come down and like see. And he's like, are you really going to go to this party in LA and yada yada yada. And Piper's like, I don't know,
Yada
like
yada
I don't,
yada.
yeah. You got me saying it. Piper's like, I don't know, like I love you, I want to be with you. Like she's like professing her love to him and he's like no, like you don't get it and meh, 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 meh. And he's like I'm going to go sleep on the boat tonight. And he was like, if I mean anything to you, you'll be at the pier in the morning. And she's like, I'll be there. Like, don't doubt me. Like, where I was like, this is fucking cringe, first of all. Second of all, Brendan, you're mad dramatic. Like, you are so dramatic. This is your last night with your girlfriend and you're going to have a fight and you're going to go sleep on the boat.
I agree. Like he for sure pulled the man child, but I will say I think that he's been so emotionally like regulated the whole book that I was like he deserves a freak out because she's the one who's always like a shit emotionally like distraught, doesn't communicate kind of person. So I think he's kind of just fed up with her, to be quite honest with you.
But like she's not though, because once she's
Mm,
like in the role of like, oh, we're together, like she's very lovey dovey and she like, you know,
yeah.
their like love confessions are very cringe. And like it's just like too ooey gooey. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, like no one in their real life is saying any of this.
No. And then so whatever. So that happens, right? So the next morning, she has her regular morning routine. She goes for a run, she helps the old man walk to the museum, and the fucking guy falls and cracks his head open. So now she's like stuck trying to, you know, nurse this guy until somebody comes to, you know, relieve her so she can run to the dock. She runs to the dock and the ship's gone and she's like hysterically crying and like the other like wives and moms are like, you're gonna have to be stronger than that if like you're gonna be married to the captain or whatever the fuck it is.
Is it bad that I was like, I would have been like, Abe, hold that napkin on your head. I gotta go.
That's what I was saying too. I was like, fuck the old guy. Sorry. Like, I'm going.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page because I was like, if I was like, you know, about to like lose the love of my life or whatever because we had this stupid agreement that if I'm not at the dock, then you should know we're over. Guess what? I'm gonna be at that fucking dock. Abe, love you. Hope you're well, but gotta
Literally.
go.
I would have had more respect for Piper as a person if
If
she
she was
left.
like,
If she
yeah,
left the
bye,
old man
Abe.
who was bleeding from his head injury
Yeah,
to go
bye.
kiss her man goodbye.
I mean, I'm with you.
I mean, Abel's young one. He understands.
Yeah, he'd be like, go, sweetheart.
Literally. Well, anyways, so she misses the boat. She tries
Yikes.
texting and calling Brendan, but like there's no service. So now
Of
she's like
course.
all in her feels and she's upset because she's like, what does he think? Yada yada. Yada 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 yada. And so Labor Day comes around and they have the party for the bar. And it was supposed to start at like 6 or something. I don't know. Nobody shows up. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
8:30, 9 o'clock at this point, and still no one's there. So Piper again is in her feels, and Kirby, her best friend, is texting her like, "Oh my god, like, are you coming to the party? Like, you have to answer me." Blah 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 blah. And Hannah's like, "Just go, Piper. Just go. Like, I'll handle it if anyone
Well,
comes."
and also in this scene as well, Brendan's father-in-law comes to the bar.
Oh yeah, I've heard he's a dick for that.
And he basically alludes to the fact that like she's not tough enough, she'll never be his daughter.
It's
And
crazy.
just like and so Piper's
Out
like,
of pocket.
actually, I want to fucking die.
Yeah,
And so yeah,
that was sad for her.
I think the whole day, right, was sad. Like I missed the boat because even when she misses the boat, I give her props. She says like, "Oh, like realistically, this is very sad and makes me like sick to my stomach that he thinks that like we're broken up. But like realistically, he'll be back. So like we'll just settle it. You know, I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell him Abe fell, whatever." But then, like, the whole thing with the bar, like, all the people that she thought were, becoming friends with her don't show up. Now this fucking guy was like, yeah, you actually suck. So, like, that's a bad day.
For sure. So, like the coward she is, she runs back to LA.
Jeez. Wow.
Okay, and now this is where it gets crazy because so all that happens, and then there's like literally 7 pages left in the book at that point.
Is
Or
there?
like
That's it?
there's not many, like 10 pages maybe, I would say max.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically what happens is that like Piper is going to her, her welcome party or whatever it is, and she's supposed to like like levitate or something on this unicorn in front of all these people in a
I hate
crowd
this.
screaming for her.
I hate
So
this.
random. Like this is like a 13-year-old fantasy, not a fucking 28-year-old. You know what I
So
mean?
I hate this more than anything in my whole soul. Now, is the point she's trying to make like LA is super cringy in itself? Probably.
Yeah, but is she from LA? Like, does she know? I don't know. Are
I don't
people really
know.
doing this in LA? I can't believe that. I
um
think LA is a little bit cooler.
You'd have to hope, right? Well, and like real quick before we get to the big moment. So Brendan, they come back to port. Now they are like 3 hours behind because there was an oil rig fire. Now there was people from the town who work on the oil rig, so that's why everyone was late to the party. Was they were all watching the news, hoping that their like loved ones, etc., were like getting off the oil rig.
Yeah.
Brendan also was delayed because he had to boat around the oil rig fire. So he shows up to the bar at like 10:30 and everyone's there and they're like, "Where's Piper? We love her, blah, blah, blah." And Hannah's like, "Oh my God." And then Brendan also, his text load and she's like, "There was an emergency. Like, I'm coming. I love you." So now he's like, "Oh my God." And then Mick, the father-in-law, was like, "Yeah, I may have alluded that she's a piece of shit and could never be my daughter." And Brendan's like, "I'm going to kill this entire town."
Yeah.
Yikes.
He was raging real hard.
He was raging so hard.
We haven't said that in a while.
No one's been raging hard, so.
Damn. Well, Brendan is.
But Brendan is.
Yeah. So, as you can probably guess, he goes to LA and he goes to the party, and Piper's on stage and she sees him in the crowd. And so she like fucking falls off the unicorn. She flashes everybody in the audience. And she's like trying to fucking. Okay, if I was Piper, I would have crowd surfed. I feel like that would have been way, number one, more epic, and two, just would have made more sense to get to him. You know what I mean? Because you do a running leap and a dive. Yeah. You're like halfway through the audience, right?
Have you ever crowd surfed?
No, I have not.
Oh, why do you look so fucking...
Because I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I could crowd surf.
Why not? That's bizarre for you. I feel as though you definitely would be in those circumstances.
Really?
Yeah. Good concert? You never wanted to go up?
How can I go up on stage? How can I go up on stage when they have thousands of security?
Not like jumping off the stage into the crowd, but you never crowd surfed at a concert toward the stage?
No. That's not true crowd surfing.
Yes, it fucking... Okay, if you're being thrown in the air by human beings and like they're trying to throw you onto the stage, you're the audience.
No, so this is what I think of crowd surfing. When you surf regularly in the ocean, you're on the board, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have to like lift yourself up and you ride the wave. To me, just having people throw you around is not true crowd surfing. You have to start from the solid surface of the stage and jump into the crowd.
I beg to differ. I think if you're in the crowd and you go, "I want to go up," and they like do almost like a cheerleading stunt and they get you by the leg and they throw you in the air, and then like the whole time you travel toward the stage and you get to the stage. The objective is to get to the stage, and you are over all the bodies. Yes.
I thought the purpose is to get away from the stage.
Well, it depends. If you're a fucking singer, then yeah, but I'm not a singer, so my goal is to get closer to the stage. And then security like drops you down, and then like you're in like the inside barricade, and then you like walk away.
Ariana, what is you doing here?
Anyways, I just imagined you crowd surfing, so that's why I was asking.
All right, well, I'm still young, still do it.
Yeah, so I think our bucket list as a friend is
Go crowd surfing.
Like, yeah, I want to take you to a concert and I want to get you to crowd surf.
Okay, let's do it.
Like, you just go tap a big man next to you and you go, hello, can you? And you go like this, I want to go up. And then he throws you, and then you just watch you go. And I hope that you're okay.
Okay, so stay tuned in case that happens in the near future.
Wow, near future. Fuck. Okay, I gotta really make this happen for you now.
Shit. Yeah, don't fuck this up now, Jamie.
All right. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, so she gets to Brendan, and the first thing she says is, I want to go home. Like, she sees him on the stage. She's like, I just want to go home. I want to go home. She's like, I need my recharging station. Oh, the fucking recharging station again. And then she gets to Brendan, and I'm pretty sure the first thing she says is like, I'm so happy to be back in my recharging station. Or he like secures me in my recharging station, and we like leave. And I'm like, all of that for what? That scene literally took 10 seconds of my life to read.
So why are you so passionate about it then?
Because at least make it good. She could have crowd surfed her way out of there.
All right. If she did that, would it have been fine for you?
Then I would have been like, okay, well, it happened also quickly. So like, yes and no. Like I would have had more respect for her as a person. But for the author writing this, no.
Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, now they go back to Westport and she moves there. That's it.
Yeah, literally it's like I closed the book and I was like, that was so fucking corny. And of course they all lived happily ever after.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's the story, guys. Okay, so
that's all she wrote.
What were your overall thoughts and rating of this book? Give me a Goodreads and a little explanation.
Okay, so I rated it 3.5 stars.
Ooh, cheating. What did you put on Goodreads actually?
3.
Cheater. Okay.
Goodreads doesn't have half stars.
I know, that's why I was saying you're cheating, because I know they don't.
Oh. Well, I put in my review 3.5.
Okay.
But it wasn't enjoyable. Okay, so usually I feel, I don't know, I go back and forth with how I rate things sometimes, but like I just felt like it wasn't deserving of a 4 because I don't think I'll ever read it again. I didn't particularly love reading it either. Like I just felt kind of like meh reading it. I mean, some parts definitely like made me laugh and giggle, but it wasn't like I enjoyed reading like the Unhoneymooners more than I did this book.
That's what I was going to ask you next, was going to be what of the romances, the 3 that we've done so far, have you liked the best?
Obviously, the Unhoneymooners.
Okay.
I appreciated Piper for who she was and who she was like modeled after. I felt like that good classic like male female dynamic with like like the whole fucking generalized gender roles and stuff like that was like on par.
Yeah.
And I'm like you in that sense where sometimes like I do enjoy that.
Right.
So like that was fine, but like also her writing wasn't the best.
Okay.
Like I think Christina Lauren had better writing. So I felt like Tessa Bailey was like she was like
wow.
I don't know what my first thought was to like compare cracker brands, but like let me not do that.
Wow. Okay.
Like I was thinking like those really nasty like fucking cardboard crackers that like nobody likes is like Colleen Hoover's writing.
Okay.
And then like this is like a personal preference. I prefer Keebler crackers to Ritz crackers.
Wait, like and, the green box, right?
Yeah, and
like the buttery crackers.
Yeah, so it's
100%.
Okay, so like I feel like that's very niche, and only some people will really understand that. So I felt like Tessa Bailey, like her writing was like
Ritz cracker,
and then like Christina Lauren was like the Keebler crackers.
I honestly would fuck someone up for a box of those Keebler crackers right now. I might need to go to Acme and get some. Ryan's gonna be like, I'm gonna storm downstairs to this dinner he made me and be like, I need to go to Acme and get Keebler crackers. He's gonna be like, excuse me?
Oh my God. I think I should rate books that way from now on.
Maybe we have like, I think we should have like different things. Like I'm down with the cracker consistently. That's a very specific thing you're gonna do. So we can always do like different like cookies or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so I gave it a 4 star, 4.0. I think it was just very classic romance. It got points docked for me because of the ending, like the unicorn. Now, again, do I appreciate it now? A little bit. I think she's just making a very stark, literal point that her life there was like meaningless and absurd, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I will say when I first read
It's
it, I was like,
symbolic.
yeah. When I first read it, I was like obsessed and I was like, this is like a 4.9 star. I think as time has gone on, I've like fed less into like the romance, which I'm proud of myself for,
Mm-hmm.
like the corny, whatever. I still think it was a really
Thank
endearing
God.
story. I'm enjoying it. But I think like I was like reading it now and I was like, all right, this is like a little corny. Less so than Ugly Love, but like I definitely I feel like have come back to earth. So I'm giving it a solid 4.0. I obviously read it again. I enjoyed it. Brendan was just as dreamy as the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I think again, like I agree with you. It did what it sought out to do, right? Like very again, classic masculine, feminine, enemies to lovers. Could have done that a little bit better, honestly, but like I think it again was just a mindless, enjoyable. It gave me the vibes of like Portland slash like a coastal city.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
like
she
the
did a good
trope.
job of creating the vibe for sure.
Yeah, like the
I
trope
would
of
agree.
like socialite, pretty girl, and like rugged fisherman. Like I was into the vibes for sure. Um, so yeah, I think I gave it a 4 star. But I agree. I think I like the Unhoneymooners better. I think out of the romances we've read so far, I think I'm with you. I think the cracker analogy stands true for me as well with the books as
Makes
well.
sense, right?
Not only do we like the same crackers as our top spot being Keebler, but I think that also the Unhoneymooners were my Keebler cracker as well. So I'm glad
Amazing.
that we bonded over this.
Yes, I agree.
So I don't really even know how to end that thought other than just being like, all right, that's over. And so
That's it.
so we had you guys vote um for our 6 month anniversary. We're doing all kinds of fun things. So on top of those things we mentioned in the beginning of this episode, as far as editing and doing video recordings, and making like a little Goodreads rating, how we kind of do it verbally on the podcast. We're gonna make just posts for it and stories. We also, in honor of 6 months, we did our poll as per usual. Our next summer read, summer in quotations because all the books have summer in the title, and the winner is, I'm looking right now, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which I've heard lots of people like are obsessed with it. So I'm actually intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
So we're reading that next week. So stay tuned for that next week. We also are going to be figuring out some kind of giveaway for 6 months. We're not sure exactly what. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be a book or like book-ish merch. I don't know, but 6 months seems like a pretty big fucking deal that we're still doing this.
Yeah.
Like, look at us. We're really sticking it through. I'm proud of us.
I know.
Passion project turned real. And so yeah, so
Love it.
stay tuned. Maybe like we'll try to roll these things out in our 6th month, just to kind of revamp and kind of make it new and shiny and all these fun changes for you guys.
Yep.
And so that's what we're doing. And so next week we have another romance, seemingly. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Oh God, since when did we turn to a romance account?
I think just summer, because like I think we're almost like a mood account. You know how people say like they mood read their to be read pile?
Oh my God, are you a mood reader?
I think so, because like I'm more of like a mood reader in the sense of like in summer I want like these like fun flirty summer books, like, and then in the fall I'm like, let's read Dracula, like. So I feel like we're just like a
Or are
mood
you like
account.
a seasoned reader?
Maybe.
I've
Like
never
I
thought of
could
it for
never
myself.
read Unhoneymooners in the winter.
Valid.
You know.
I just think like if there's a book I really want to read, I'll just read it.
It depends on like how intense I want to read it, right? Like no matter when Fourth Wing, the third book comes out, or whenever SJM comes out, I'm reading it the second it comes out. But certain books, like Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, like if we didn't read it now, I wasn't gonna read it,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh, so I've also thought of a way to con the system.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't say that on the air. Anyways, for any of you who understand, like if your books are not all the same size or if they're like half paperback, half hardcover, like the struggle is real, right? So obviously SJM is coming out with her next book and it's going to be in
right.
hardcover, right?
Okay, guys, we talked for an hour about this when we were in Portland at a coffee bar, and we were like, what do we do? This is what we do in our normal time.
Well, I figured it out.
Oh my God,
you're going to go to Barnes & Nobles. You're going to buy the book. You're going to read it and devour it in like the day or two. And then you're going to return it. And then you're going to wait until the softs cover comes out.
Okay,
that's what I'm gonna do.
I don't mind.
Is that legal?
I mean, I don't think it matters. Here's my issue with that: is I do enjoy to highlight.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're a highlighter.
So I mean, I could just sacrifice the highlighting, you know. It is a problem. That's why I'm saying, like, the fact that we got Fourth Wing all in hardcover, it ends up working out for us as new things come out.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so oh my god, I was thinking this and I was like, please say on the podcast today. Not that any of you are gonna care, because I don't think any of you quite frankly care that much. But I found the fucking dust jacket for
where was
Crescent
it?
City 3. I actually still haven't gotten it. I just saw it visually and I was like, ah, there it is. So it's still there.
So where is it?
It's behind my couch.
Oh.
Like, I was crawling onto the couch looking for a lighter for my psychopathic husband. And I was like, holy shit, there's the dust jacket. But then I just left it. But it's there.
Alrighty, well.
So
the mystery has been solved.
In case any of you were holding your fucking breaths.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. I'm excited for next week. This is also going to be... yes. Okay, I wanted to make sure before I said this. This is going to be the first romance we're reading together. Like that I haven't read first.
Oh, fun.
So that'll be nice.
Yes.
Like, because we can talk about, like, ooh, what did you think was going to happen? Because...
yeah, first thoughts and stuff.
And then after that, I mean, that release date, is that going to be the last week of August? Yeah. So then we're done with the summer stuff, and then we're going to tell you what's next.
Woo woo!
So get ready for our finishing 2 summer flings.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share, comment, like.
All right. Well, we love you.
Stalk us. No, actually, don't do that. I don't want a stalker.
No, I'd really rather not have a stalker.
But we do love you guys, and thank you for listening so much from the bottom of our hearts.
For the past 6 months.
To whoever is deranged enough to listen to us talk about books, we see you.
We see you. We love you. We question your sanity. You. But we do love you.
And for anyone who's hating, go away.
I don't think we're even that good to get haters yet.
Oh well.
Honestly, when we get our first hater, I'm gonna rejoice.
I like actually like want trolls. Like, I want to experience that, you know?
I think you are stronger than I. I think I would cry. Anyways, it's fine. Let's see. If we get there, we get there, and we'll go from there.
Sick.
All right, we will see you guys next week for some Abby Jimenez.
Woo!
Woo! Bye.
Bye.